said that you had experienced rape, and after you experienced rape, you made a decision that it would not define or end your life. What actually helped you find the strength to keep going and continue pursuing your purpose? My own mum was also raped, and it was very difficult for her to move on in life. So what helped you to heal?
What I will say is the Lord is my strength.
Yeah.
Because after that night, the following day, I got up and just went about my business. There was a time I was like, where did this strength come from? And there was a reminder that God is your strength. And I just knew that God wanted to do something to glorify himself out of that. When I first gave an interview about this rape thing, you won't believe the women that came out to tell their stories, and there was one that was raped anally by her pastor. There was another one that was raped 3 times. One by her, twice. One by her cousin. And then when she told her parents, they told her to shut up, that she should not mention it anymore. And then the second one was by armed robbers that came to.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are many people who are going, but this is what I said to them. I said, 1, you are not a victim. When you use that word victim, it gives some power to the rapist. You are a survivor. That's 1. Number 2, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to heal. Take whatever time you like. When you heal, pick yourself up. I had this small organization, when they've healed, I will ask them what their passions are. What do they want to do? If you're a fashion designer, I put you in front of a fashion designer. Because of my job, I get to know a lot of people. I will say, please help her get into what she wants. If you're a makeup artist, I get a makeup artist and they train you, But the most important thing is that do not tell anybody that they should get over it. You went to the person being raped, so you don't know the trauma, right? So take your time. Take your time. They say it's okay to go to hell, but it's not okay to stay there. Mm-hmm. So that's, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, because it's true. People experience deep shame. I know, because my mom is also a survivor of rape. There's a shame that comes with it, and then also a fear, and then a fear of also speaking up. And sadly, when people do speak up, unfortunately, they are shamed even more for it. Even reporting to the police is a very scary thing to do, because you would just think, well, would they blame me too? And even if it does go to court, will the person be prosecuted? In the case of my mom, the man was not prosecuted. So what did you do? Did you report it to the police?
No. Okay. Before I said, God, I wouldn't let this incident affect my life. The first thing I said when I left the room was, or rather when he pushed me out of the room, was that I pray that he gives his life to Christ. That was the first thing I said before I now said, this incident won't affect my life. Like I said, not everybody can go through that. Not everybody has the strength, right? And that's why I said you can take how long it takes you to heal. Everybody. it's sad that you mentioned the police because I do not trust the police in anything. Even if it's, I don't trust the police. The police to me is not my friend, so it's not even just because of rape incidents. Generally, I don't trust them.
Mm.
I don't think that they are doing their work as effectively as the media say they are. So yeah, they. I don't know how to put this, but strength is. You don't know how strong you are until something happens to you. Since I've had the stroke, I've found other ways to do things. Do you get? If something happens to you, survival instinct steps in immediately, right? So you will find a way. I just know that you will find a way. I know it might be hard to say because you're talking like this because you had the strength, but I know that there's inner strength in everybody. Unfortunately, I can't find it for you, but I can help you, get there. That's what I say concerning the strength.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. My mom, when the rape happened, she wasn't a Christian yet. Like me, we gave our lives to Christ 4 years ago at the same time. But what happened? What triggered this response to her healing was she came across this TED Talk, and the woman was mentioned that she had been raped, and she said what helped her was forgiveness. So meanwhile,
let's use the word sexually assaulted.
Sexually assaulted. And meanwhile, when she clicked the video, she didn't know that the theme was abuse, so it just was like the power of forgiveness. And anyway, this lady said that forgiving the person who had assaulted her is what helped her to heal. But she said it from a place of like, she just had to really dig deep to forgive this man. So my mom tried to do the same, but it was very difficult for her. She thought, she just thought, how could I do that? And then she was even thinking, maybe I can try and find him to try and forgive him face to face or over the phone, but she couldn't find him. But anyways, she was really struggling to move on in life. And she came across this lady who was also assaulted. This was like a friend from Facebook who was also assaulted, shared her story with her. And my mom couldn't move on because the man wasn't prosecuted who had assaulted my mom. And she said she's just so upset because he's not going to be judged. He's not going to be judged for what he did to her. And the woman, my mom's friend, just said, okay, but what if I told you that he will be judged and it will be the perfect judgment that the courts that get things wrong here will not even be able to meet because he will be judged by God. And that just opened my mom up so much to God. And then that's when she eventually gave her life to Jesus Christ. But long story short, I think also I'd like to add, I think a lot of times, like when people have wronged me, I found it really hard to forgive them. I'll say I forgive them, but deep down inside, I'm still holding resentment, and I couldn't really have a conversation with them without feeling some sort of anger or resentment towards them. I also think asking God as well for him to give us a spirit of forgiveness as well, because Jesus was murdered. He was murdered, and beaten, assaulted himself. And as he was assaulted, he just said, Father, forgive them for they don't know what they do. I love how you said, before we talked, you said that no one is born a rapist. There's something that has happened for them to now want to go and exert power over somebody else in such an evil, horrible way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thank you so much for that. Yeah. And so do
Yeah.
you go to God as well? Like, did you find like healing in God? For someone who wants healing, what advice would you give them to?
That's difficult because different people have different ways of processing things. You know, that's why I've said that it doesn't matter how long it takes you to heal, and it doesn't matter which way you heal. I, for one, dealing with people and forgiveness, if you upset me, I have to tell you that you have upset me, right? If I don't tell you, then it will start to build the grudge. But the moment I have said it, it's out, it's gone. You don't even have to tell me sorry. You know, I've moved on. So when you try to bring me back, I'm like, wait a minute, this thing happened, you know, so many days ago, but I've moved on, you know, and that would now bring shame to the person who has offended, if you know what I mean, you know. So that's the way I deal with it. So a friend that has known me for over 20 years, he was like he was thinking, and he said, Evelyn, do you get angry? I've never seen you angry. I said I do get angry, but I make sure that I don't sleep on it, because at the end of the day, it's only yourself you're doing. You're punishing yourself. You know, the person that has done whatever has moved on. You know, so and you're there, you're saying, I can never forgive this person. I can never, you know. If God, that is the ultimate, can forgive us, and we do worse things, why can't we forgive somebody? You know?
Yeah.
And if when you hurt me like that, it's not because I don't forgive. If I stay away from you, it's because I don't want that pain again. It's not because I don't forgive you. You know, I stay away because I don't want to be in a position where you can hurt me that much, you know, to cause pain, you know. But the world would be a better place. And I just pray that, you know, the youths, you know, should, I wish there's a way that everybody could help, every adult can help the youths, because they do need the help. Number one, the adults come from a different era. You know, when I see some of the youths, what they're doing now, I'm like, why? How come? In my day, we didn't, but I've forgotten that the times are different. So I take my time to study the times so that I can adjust how I'm feeling towards these youths, you know, and get on with them very well.
Yeah, amen. Thank you. And for young people who have been silenced by trauma and deep shame and fear, and they're listening to you speak right now, what would you say to encourage them that their story and their ambitions still matter?
Okay, this, I don't know. I hope what I'm going to say will be taken. Just know that everything happens in life happens for a reason. There is no accident in life. It happens for a reason. I don't know if you watched the show with the girl that had the plane, that survived the plane crash.
I didn't watch that one. I watched the other one.
Maybe when you go back, you watch it, right? She was the only surviving student. All the other, her friends and her classmates, they all died. And their teacher will also survive. Now, this girl, from the time that I interviewed her, from the time of the crash to the time that I interviewed her, she had 38 plastic cosmetic procedures, right? And even before we started the interview, I said they should bring tissues so that in case she starts crying. And her aunt said, no, she won't cry. You know, there was something she said, I'm just happy to be alive. And I looked at her saying this and I'm like, really? Me, I would complain. If the sun doesn't shine, I will complain. If the rain doesn't fall, I will complain. And here's somebody who has been through that trauma and is saying she's just happy to be alive. Now, during her healing process in hospital in South Africa, because she was taken to South Africa before she went to America, she just started learning to sing. Do you know that today she has been on American Idol? Right?
Wow.
She came second. Then the All-Stars American Idol, she came first. She does TED Talks. She has been before the Senate in America. She has spoken to them. You know, she's so inspiring when you hear her. So that's why I say nothing. These young people should realize that if they are going through things, right, that they should know that it's happening for a reason, either for, for their good. They should take that to heart and like, okay, this too will pass. If you find out that, when we get so worried about, I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what is going to happen. Tomorrow comes and you say, this is the day that I worried about yesterday. You can't do anything about what is happening to you, but just know that whatever is happening to you at any given time is for a reason. The only thing that can stop you is if you're dead.